Hi and welcome back. There are some very heavy questions, I think, within our space, and I'm feeling compelled to do a little video of what I would tell my kids about this choice and what brought me to this choice and any questions that they might have as they get older. Now, I know so many of us go into this wondering, like, are my kids going to be upset? Is this the wrong choice for them? We hear tons of stories about how, the single mom stats and all these things, or, your kid's going to end up in jail because you chose this, and they're going to hate you, and all these things because it's such a selfish choice, when in reality, it's probably the opposite, almost completely the opposite. But what I wish I could, not that I wish because I could tell them anything, right? But I just ultimately always want them to know that my choices, all of my choices in motherhood, are always rooted in love for them. Just a little tiny backstory. Like, I grew up, I'm a millennial, right? I'm 36. My parents were like most boomer parents, I think is what they're considered. Like, they were tough, like sometimes I needed a Paula and they showed up as a Simon with a lot of things in life. And of course, I think that comes from their upbringing. And of course, we all just carry our own poop from our own childhood. But with my own kids, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to repeat the patterns. And I see that a lot in parenting now, like modern parenthood, where we're really trying to do things differently because we're seeing the effects of the parenting mistakes from generations before. So I just want them to know that every choice I make in motherhood is not one that I take lightly. I don't just do things on a whim without really obsessively thinking about it most of the time. So becoming a choice mom was one of those things. I took years and years to get to that choice. I didn't just do it on a whim, and most of us don't, right? It's usually a lengthy process. Fertility in itself is often a lengthy process. Not many of us get it on the first shot. So yeah, it wasn't hey, I'm gonna do this today, and I go and do it and it happened. Of course, there was a lot of thinking involved. There was a lot of planning. But yeah, with both of my kids, no matter how I conceived them, every day I'm making choices in hopes that they will be really happy, healthy, loving, fulfilled, content, joyful, just great human beings as adults, right? Forever. I do hope and pray for that for them all the time. And I'm always trying to do better. And I'm always talking to my kids and keeping an open dialogue. More specifically, like with my daughter, just with like not heavier things, but she's 10, Leo's 3.5. So of course, the kinds of conversations and topics that we can address in detail are going to be different. No kidding. But yeah, I would want my kids to know that every day I do my best to give them the best versions of me, and I do my best to pour into them and to fill their cup and to remind them that they're awesome. And I try to be their Paula, and cheer them on and remind them that, hey, sky's the limit. And I think I needed that a lot growing up. And sometimes people will tell me too, because I do share a lot of my motherhood and the way that we do things in my house and yada yada. And sometimes people will say, like, you need to be stricter because if you're not firm now, it's not going to pay off in the end. Like saying yes to something now might bite you in the butt later. And I get that, when I've shared, my kids just sleep with me. I don't fight it. It's whatever, right? And, when it like later on, it's going to be a problem. I can't imagine how it would be a problem. Like, I don't think my 17-year-old is going to want to sleep with me. And if she does, doesn't really bother me, really. If I'm her, comfort space, I think that's a great thing. Even as an adult, like I've seen posts too where people are saying like, I don't live in the same city as my mom, so when I'm out of town, I don't get to see her that much. And then when I do go see my mom, I sleep in bed with my mom. I want to sleep in my mom's bed. I want that comfort. I want that like hug, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I want to be my kid's safe space forever. When all of us are old, you know what I mean? I want to be 95 and my kids, who are probably great grandparents themselves or whatever, still see me as a comfort and somewhere to like a soft landing space, and they can come with anything and everything, and I'm always going to be there. I believe that kids need that, and I want that for them. So yes, every day I'm making choices that are for them. And I know not everybody gets it, especially it's like, yeah, but you chose to do this without a dad for the kids and they need that. And, there are studies, and what about tradition? Like you don't care about tradition. Like, what are your kids gonna do when they get older and yada, yada. And I understand everyone's POV on that. Again, this is what we were taught forever, okay? Our parents were taught it. Everyone we know was taught this. So I can get that it's hard to grasp how it is a good choice if you don't see it, right? If you and I don't have the same POV, same wavelength, same just perspective on life, I can see where you're like, this chick doesn't know what she's talking about, she's crazy, whatever. And sure, we don't have to see eye to eye on everything, that's fine. But I want you to understand that these stats are based on, I've said it before, are based on single moms that were shut out, who were probably not working, who the husband, was providing, or, she got pregnant young and didn't finish school, didn't get any diplomas, no degrees, no nothing. She, isn't educated on paper, so she doesn't qualify for any great paying jobs. It's bullshit, okay? Life experience is hugely important in life. But from a job perspective, for companies that are looking to hire, a lot of times they're gonna say, hey, we're not gonna hire her. She's not, she doesn't fit the role. So this woman is then put in a situation where she doesn't have any options. So she's probably working a job that doesn't pay very well, something in the service industry or something like that. And not to say that some people in the service industry don't get paid well. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that ultimately they usually end up having to take jobs that don't pay great, maybe under the table type jobs, which then gets kind of tricky and puts them in a spot, right? And then they probably don't have a lot of people around that they can lean on for childcare, and childcare is expensive if you're working. So it's just like this endless loop that sets a single mom up for failure, okay? Those are the stats. That's what they're based on, okay? They're not doing these reviews or like statistical tests for women that are career women that, that are doing well in life and have a support system in place and actively decided to become a single mom with a plan of action and all these things, with money set aside and a plan, and support and all these things. These are not the people that are part of the statistics, okay? The choice mom community is a completely different thing. Okay. Now, on top of that, there are more and more reviews. More and more. I got completely blanked on my wording here. More and more stats that are starting to show that single mom homes are just as healthy and beneficial to traditional homes as long as mom is good. Okay. So the foundation being mom, the structure being mom. Okay, the home being mom, and mom just is there, and she is happy, healthy, supported, financially healthy, mentally healthy, has systems in place. Mom is good. Mom is solid. Okay, then kids are good. Kids are solid. Okay, so if we're building this from unshaky ground as a single mom, you're good. Your kids are good. Okay. There are lots of kids that come from healthy, on paper, traditional on paper, whatever, families, and they end up with all kinds of issues and problems, and some of them go to jail too, and you know what I mean? So I want to just talk about the fact that our community is one that is rooted in love, and none of us are stupid either. Like, we're going into this knowing what the F we're doing and what we're talking about and what our plans are, okay? So yeah, that was a little bit of a tangent, little part of that. But yes, I just want my kids to know, and I'm showing, because again, kids, you can talk to them all day long, okay? You can tell them whatever you want till you're blue in the face. They are going to do what you do. The actions speak louder, right? So for me, in choosing to do things that are against the norm, like I was working in corporate, I was doing the 9 to 5, I was miserable, okay? I went to school, I studied interior design because I thought that that was gonna be it. I fucking hated it. I went once, I almost graduated, and I was like, oh, I hate it. And then I went back years later when I was pregnant with Riley, because it was like, I gotta do something, okay? I was working in corporate already, but didn't love it. So I was like, oh, interior design. I'm terrible at interior design. I am not in any way, like, I don't have an eye for it, okay? I just don't, and that's okay. That's just something that some people have and some people don't. It's not a natural skill of mine, fine, okay? But I hated it, and I stayed in it. I actually got my diploma the second time around, which is great. You know, options are there, but it wasn't what I wanted. I stayed in corporate because that was already paying decently. It wasn't major, but you know, it was a consistent paycheck, something I could rely on. I was there for a while. I stayed doing that. But again, I hated it, okay? I wanted to be an actress. So I thought, this is a story for another day. But I wanted to go that route. Okay, singing, dancing, performing, acting. That's what I enjoyed doing or thought that I wanted to do, okay? And I had a lot of Simons in my life that were like, don't do it. It's not for you. Do the safer thing. Stay in corporate. Do RSPs. Make sure you set yourself up for your future and yada yada. And all those things are fine, but I was miserable. I hated every minute of it. I was not creative in any way what I was doing, and it was just pouring my energy into something that was crap. So again, now, okay, since having Leo, I ended up losing my job, and it was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It was terrifying, okay? Now I'm a single mom of 2. What am I doing? What am I gonna do? And I just kind of was like, we're gonna do this, terrified, but we're gonna do it. And I kind of grabbed life by the cojones, and I started a business, started a podcast, eventually started the YouTube and all these things. And eventually it became something, and I'm working with companies and brands that are within this space. And I've been able to, you know, turn a not great situation that was actually a huge blessing into something amazing. And my day-to-day is literally something I used to pray for, that I used to cry over. And I'm not doing anything by the rules. I'm a single mom to 2 on purpose, okay? I had a corporate job that would help pay for RSPs and all these things, and I could have been there like for 100 years, okay? Like there was no way I was going anywhere, okay? So I could have relied on that until I retired at, 60 whatever years old. Like, that was done for me, okay? So I could have done that, could have relied on that, but I decided to walk away. I didn't give them what they wanted when I was coming back from mat leave, so that ended up closing the door. And yeah, I've ultimately broken the rules in all the other spaces too. I've accepted my body as it is. I'm working on it, yes. But that's another thing, like, I don't do wellness for aesthetics and for pleasing the male gaze. Like, I'm not interested in that at all anymore. Thank you. For so long, that was a thing. Because that's what, we grew up in the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, whatever era. And it kind of made us, or most of us, feel like we had to look a certain way to be able to fit this desirable look. And I'm over that too. So there's so much, like, in the way I'm raising my kids with body positivity, the way that we talk about things, like affirmations, the way that we're allowed to talk to one another. There's no such thing as an unrealistic goal. You don't have to do the traditional. Like, I'm don't think I've ever talked to my kids about, well, again, older, my daughter's older, so we can have those conversations, but we've never talked about like, you have to go to college, you have to get in here, you have to do that. Oh my God, you know, she brings home a test and it wasn't her best. Like, I don't rip her to shreds over that. I don't. Like, did you study? Did you give it your all? You probably didn't study as much as you should have. You know? And then she gives me back the argument, like, who cares about the history? Like, I'm not going to remember any of it anyways. But I explained to her that, listen, it's important to apply yourself. You get through school because you need at least your high school, is what I believe, at least, okay? And after that, hey, the world is your oyster, and she's doing things on the side. She started like her own little slime business, which she's actually making bank with, which she's 10, which is insane. But yeah, she's got her slime stuff going on. She wants to do fashion. She wants to do all these things. And I am standing beside her, rooting her on. And whatever my son decides he wants to do too, like I'm just here for it. They're allowed to break the rules. Like, it's so night and day with the way that I was raised, in the best way, but it doesn't mean that it's not challenging. And again, I would want them to know that it's exceptionally challenging because the way I was raised was so different, right? It was a little narrow-minded. It was a little negative, and it was a little, I don't want to get into the everythings, but it was closed-minded, okay? And there was a lot of the ugly duckling type storytelling and things like that. And I don't buy into any of that anymore. And my kids are not sold any of that anymore. Like, beauty comes in all different ways. You can be smart in so many different ways. You can be talented in so many different ways. And again, all of that, this like trajectory of my life and the way things have unfolded has all really started, like when I look back and, you know, crunch the time lap and all those things, like it all started to change once I decided to become a single mom by choice. And it was just like, you know, when you like stack cards and they all just kind of like, when you like push one over, or what the hell are those things called? A domino. They get like a domino effect, like just everything that's just shifted in my life and my mindset, and just like the way I see my daughter talk and the way I'm raising my kids proudly is just, again, it's night and day. And I'm just really proud of my choices. And I know some of you will not get that, and that's okay. Maybe you're not meant to in this lifetime, like it's fine. But for those of you that do, I just want to squeeze you and love you and send you love and just remind you that you have all the answers within you, okay? You know what's right for you, and you're not here by accident listening to this. So I'm here. Don't forget, I've got resources to help you, free guides. I have paid programs. I do one-on-ones. I try to open them here and there when the schedule allows. If you would like to do that, I'm here for you. You've got this. And to my babies, if you ever watch this, you know that I love you so much. You're my favorite people in the entire universe. I love you. And I just hope that you're the happiest, most fulfilled, most joyful, kind, just deliciously happy and amazing people that you could ever be. And know that I love you more than anything. And it makes me emotional. So I love you. Have a great week. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're not already following on Instagram at Candace Catherine, and on TikTok, same at Candace Catherine, go do that. Hello. I try to share a lot more on my stories these days, so go check it out. And yeah, have a great week. Bye.